Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We are thriving on this fine Tuesday. Thank you so much. My name is Niki Martinez. My pronouns are she, her, we. This is Victorious Voices, and we have an amazing story for you today. A voice that we definitely want to highlight and honor. And I will pass it over to Arthur so he can introduce himself, and then we will go on from there.
My name is Arthur Soriano. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm ecstatic to have Eddie here present today. Victorious Voices.
Hi, good morning, Eddie. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Name is Eddie for me, Salas. I kind of switched it up because a lot of people know me as Eddie. So I'm feeling amazing.
Amazing. I love that. So here we are. We are going, because Eddie's feeling amazing, we are going to have an amazing day. We're just going to throw that out into the universe because that's what we do. We manifest amazingness. So you guys already know what I want to do because boss already said, what do? I go on my rants. So hello, here I go. Here I go ranting right now with an amazing quote for you all. So I would like to start out with a quote. And when I was thinking about everything last night about having you on, my spirit was jumping inside, doing cartwheels and confetti. And I woke up singing, "It's our anniversary," right?
Right.
I know. You and I get it. You and I get it. So with that being said, I thought about all of the different things, the adversities, the trials, the tribulations, just the things and how resilient you are and how amazing you are and the things that you've overcome. And the quote that I found was, "It is your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop." And I thought that that was so amazing considering, everything, all adversities that we go through. We go through so many different adversities, but what are we going to do with that? And it's not the adversity. It's just how determined we are to turn those adversities into something different and come when we do the ACEs and we talk about the resilience component after, we talk about trauma so much and then we want to talk about resilience, and I've had it mustering in my mind recently about some of us have had the worst days ever where we thought this was the worst day of my life, and for whatever it is that we have the ability and the capability to muster it up inside of us to get up and be in a different day, in a different place. And we survived that worst day. We survived that pain, gut wrenching, just, I don't think I'm going to make it after this. And we have, because we're here, so just what a gift and what a blessing it is. And to be able to use all the adversities that have gone against us as a means to motivate us and to be as resilient as we are. So I'll do a quick check-in. I'm feeling elated, happy, grateful, and we free. We free. I love that.
How are you feeling, Eddie?
I'm feeling amazing. Very excited to be here. Man, I was thinking last night, what words do I use to express? Because like Niki said, I have to sit back and I have to think about where I've come from, how far, far I've come. And, just to be able to sit here today free and with a group of people that I know that I have so much in common with that are working towards the same goals. It's amazing, so I feel really blessed to be here.
Thank you. And I feel like a natural, resilient vibe, if that's a feeling. I don't know. Vibes are like used a lot with our youth that we connect with. Vibe in this and fit in the vibes. And so I feel a great energy here today. And I feel that energy because your narrative has resilience written all over it. And so it's an honor to have you here present. So individuals, you families could hear your voice, right? And learn from it and grow from it and dissect it, right? And so they could use it into their own lives. So that's what Victorious Voices is all about. We're highlighting narratives of individuals that have been impacted by the justice system or traumas, and now are doing great things in the community. So it's an honor to have you here today.
Thank
I'm amazed. I'm amazed, you know, and I was thinking about everything last night. It was just like this the story that you have about your life and the things that you have endured and the things that you have overcome. Like the challenges that you have overcome just in life have been like jaw dropping. I know that there's certain times where I had heard certain things and, you know, we had discussed certain things and I'm like, God, I can't believe you've gone through all that. And it's like no matter what, like you would just you're resilient, man. You're like one of the most resilient people I know, like for real. I won't.
Okay. Don't get me crying.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, how many times did you go to board?
I went to board 12 times. Uh, I actually received the date one time prior to receiving the date that I was ultimately released on, and was denied by the governor. However, you know, I chose rather than give up at that point, I chose to keep, just, keep the faith and continue doing what I was doing because ultimately what I was doing was for me. It wasn't for them. You know, the growth, the skill sets that I had come to learn, fell into place. It's about survival, and whether you're doing that in a negative way or a positive way, it's about survival. So I chose to take that skill set that I had worked so hard to get and get to that point.
So, and I want you to take us through a narrative through your history, like your upbringing, and just share that with us.
Well, my upbringing, I guess I could start there. I was adopted at the age of 2. I'm of biracial descent, which really didn't play that big of a part in my adoption. But my mother was a hard disciplinarian, and I was a sensitive child, I guess, to that type of treatment. And as time went on, it started to affect me in a pretty negative way. I came to a point where I just did not understand or know how to express my feelings, be it hurt, be it anger, be it whatever, other than doing it in an outwardly violent fashion. So this started at quite a young age for me. And my behavior progressively got worse. It got worse in terms of lying. I started lying, stealing, ditching school and doing all the things that some of the kids I see do today. But unfortunately with me, all of the, inner turmoil that I was going through as a kid, at first I turned it in on myself. I went through stages of wanting to commit suicide at a young age. And then I somehow came to the conclusion that rather than hurt myself, hurting other people was the thing. And, but what kind of added to that is that eventually, at the age of 12, when I ran away from home, I gravitated towards individuals that were most like myself. It was my belief that I was unloved, unwanted, and these people were more of a family to me than my own, and with that came a lot of criminal behavior, deviant behavior, as you will, and my life went from one extreme to the next, to the point that by the age of 16, I committed a very, very, very egregious and heinous crime. And I must say, giving respect to my victims, that it was very unnecessary. However, this is where I was at the time in my stage of development. So ultimately, I was one of the first juveniles in the state of California at 19 1979 that was tried and convicted as an adult.
1979.
Yes.
I was born in 1976.
Same. So we were free.
So,
Well, when I committed my crime, it was ultimately punished for that crime, convicted. I was convicted of first degree murder at first, and then it was dropped to second, and given a sentence of 15 years to life. Unfortunately, my behavior didn't stop there, and it. I kind of more or less parlayed that 15-year sentence into the 43 that I ultimately served. 23 years of hard time. After a point, I realized I needed to change. That all the time I'm blaming people and, doing things of that nature, not being accountable for my own actions and taking responsibility. I came to the conclusion that the problem was me.
and we had a conversation during our trainings, and I remember that stood out to me. That like all this time passed. First and foremost, you were an underserved youth. Like you experienced all these different traumas that led you to certain behaviors, and certain behaviors took place, and there was consequences, but that rooted trauma like led for more years. And 23 years into it, you were like, okay, something clicked in where like I need to take responsibility. I need to work on myself, and I need to get to where I need to get. And that's where your resilience began.
That's where it began. Because after that, you think of 23 years in the prison system, I had pretty much buried myself in so much, how could I say it, with the behavior, all of the trouble I'd been in and all those things. It wasn't an easy task to convince anyone that I would ever be salvageable and ever be worth giving a second chance. And I knew that going in, but one night I remember thinking, do I really want to spend the rest of my life like this? And it wasn't the prison. It wasn't being in prison so much. It was who I was, how I felt on a day to day, the anger, the resentments and all of those things, and just being so bitter of a person. I didn't want to continue living my life that way. So, I decided that I was going to really, really take advantage of what we had then. Now, mind you, only the past, 10 years, life for inmates have been getting any type of real treatment. The programs, whatnot, they didn't have that the first 20-something years I was in prison. They had nothing.
And a lot of them are inmate created and inmate ran, and we created them inside, the curriculum and the desire to want to do something different,
That's so interesting to me because I was in the shoes and the level 4 yards, and I was slammed down, and like I never had a resource, period. Like, and so it was just about criminal thinking and plotting and scheming, how we're going to get the next thing and how we're going to come up and, step on this person, that person to get where we want to get.
Yep.
But like the times have changed.
Right.
Now you were blessed after being denied a few times. How did you feel when they told you, hey, Eddie, okay, we're going to let you out back into the free world? Like, how was that feeling?
Okay, so I have to tell you a story. When I went to board that year, a commissioner named Mrs. Dobbs was one of the lead. Well, she was the actual lead commissioner on my board hearing. After the board hearing was completed, she said, off record, I want to tell you that personally, I commend you. You have really made an impression on me, and she had, I mean, for real, she had faith in me.
You're good. You're good. Turn yours off.
I don't know which one I am. Am I that one? Am I the one in the middle? I don't want to turn off the wrong one because I want him to be able to speak. So I'm gonna leave it like that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
So, and when she finished telling me how she felt, I was just so incredibly grateful. I cried oh man, I cried for 3 days. Like, I was so, just to be given that second chance. And what meant more to me than anything was that somebody else really got it. They really had faith in me. They really knew that I had actually did that work, and how hard it has been for me, not only through the prison system, but through my whole entire childhood, suffering the traumas that I had suffered, because she acknowledged all of it. And so that meant a lot to me. And so now it was just a waiting game. It was okay. So you got to wait on the governor, got to go through all that. And, it's a little stressful going through that.
A little.
But once
You're just gonna minimize that, huh? It's just a little stressful. That's so stress-inducing, traumatic system-induced trauma right there is waiting the 5 months.
Not knowing, I bet you were pacing up and down, crying, not sleeping, the whole 9 yards.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But, once it was all said and done, and I was set to be free, and
Either, so that's why I'm not doing that. Go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop looking at him because he's distracting me. Go ahead, honey. It's all you. The floor is you. I apologize.
It's hard to hear him clearly.
Yeah, I know. I do too.
So if you turn yours off, then boom.
But I'm turning off the wrong one.
Okay, can you hear yourself?
I didn't hear myself.
Okay, as long as you can hear yourself and they can hear you, we're winning. Let's go
here. So, so then, this. Okay, so now when I step my foot outside them gates, God, there's just no feeling to describe. Talking about somebody feeling free. You really, really, really feel the effects of being free, like a bird being let out of a cage. It was amazing. But now, acclimating myself back into society and doing the everyday, day-to-day things, that was a bit stressful and traumatic for me. For the first year, I couldn't go in a big department store without feeling anxiety. Like, all these people, it was just so much going on, then technology. And, they were still using the landlines when I got busted. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe a walkie-talkie, what it was. But, so, it was a lot. So, but, now I'm okay. I'm still, living life, and with life comes struggles and, all those different things. But fortunately, I have a skill set that I fall back on. All the things that I've learned over the years of, working on myself and doing the work, I apply it to my life. I'm not always perfect, but I always come back, and I say, oh, I could have did that better, because when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, the struggles, the everyday struggles, like Niki said, I've been at certain points, but I don't allow everybody to see that all the time, because my thing is this: after 43 years of prison, if I could do that, I could do anything.
I'm saying.
If you could do that, you could do anything. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you on as a YE mentor in the schools. And let's be honest, for me, going in the schools, it kind of feels like a prison yard.
Oh, it kind of. You're surrounded by a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And just getting used to that environment and connecting with the youth and all the different traumas that they've been through, that you've been through, being able to make that connection with the kids. your skill set is a big strength to that school. It's a big strength to the youth. It's a big strength to the administration. It's a big strength to the people that make the decisions there. So how does that feel? You going in there and just like getting used to that, getting used to these middle school kids.
Oh, I have to draw on some skills. Because, being coming from where they're coming from right now, I haven't been there. On one side is like, okay, I can get with this. And then on the other, it's like you still have to maintain. Now you have to be that authority. That authority figure, that mentor, that role model. So you got to kind of balance the two, and you have to know when to like more or less communicate on their level. And then when you have to kind of up the ante a little bit more on yours, because kids will take advantage every chance they get. I think it's so funny because, I had kids yesterday, just they were too much. They try you, and yeah, hold it, buddy, get back there, but I know I'll get acclimated to it. I'll get used to it. It's just getting used to all the different schedules is my thing. Other than that, the kids, I really enjoy being around the kids because it reminds me of where I came from and how far I've come.
And a question,
that's important.
How does it make you feel when you're making that connection?
It makes me feel great. I have to say, is that a feeling? Yeah, it's feeling great. Okay, I feel grateful. I feel honored. And I don't know if that's a feeling, but I feel incredibly honored to be there, to be the one that they feel that they are able to come to and open up to. And I tell them that. I said, no, I'm happy to be here. I feel honored to be here for you. I always let them know that because, especially people that come from where we come from, for us to be able to do what we do is incredible. It's incredible. And so I feel really blessed about that.
Thank you, Eddie. And what's your one message that you want to give to the world? What's your one message before we start closing out and we give the floor to Niki? Like, what's that one message that you want to give to our youth, individuals, and families?
Embrace your greatness. Embrace your greatness. And to the families, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. But, I know a lot of parents, they doing the best they can. And I want to encourage them to always, take advantage of whatever opportunities come along that will help them in their, efforts to, encourage their child or help their child reach that greatness.
Yeah.
So that's what I would probably say.
Can I unmute myself now? Is that okay with you? Thank you. Appreciate you, boss. All right. Okay. Oh, thank you. I want to hear me. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, yes. Okay, bestie, here we go. So I just want to say as much of it is as an honor and a reward in what you're feeling. We're honored and rewarded to have you here with us as a part of the team. I love you tremendously. I'm so grateful that you're here with us. I'm so grateful that you're being a part of this movement because I know what your heart is. I know what your passion is, and I know what your desire is to give back and to deposit something great. And I know that you have greatness to give so many people. So to have you a part of the team, it's an honor. Seriously. I love you.
I love you too.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Eddie has been home 3 years this month, just so you all know. So we're definitely celebrating that. Like you said, the free world and its challenges, they're not easy. They're not easy to overcome, but definitely you have done it with greatness, with stride, and just succeeding tremendously. So super proud of you, and I'm grateful to have you as a friend, for sure.
Grateful too, sis.
Thank you. So thank you all so much for watching with us today. for celebrating Eddie, his freedom, his journey, his life, for being present and just allowing us an opportunity to come into your ears with this greatness and this wisdom. You know, I want to close out with a quote real quick because I feel like it's so important. You know, in order for Eddie to be free, it had to come with discipline, right? And determination. And the quote is, discipline equals freedom. You know, when we start disciplining ourselves, then we can start having a little bit of freedom. And I'm not talking about freedom in the free world freedom, I'm talking about freedom in our lives, right? So we can start just tearing away at the things that are limiting our freedom when we have discipline and we start striving towards those things of successes and rewards and wanting to be better and do better. Discipline helps us feel free. And so I just encourage you all to just tap into a little bit of discipline and figure out what that might look like for yourself. So thank you all for being here. You know, you can follow us on social media. It takes nothing to like our stuff, to share our stuff, to, you know, these messages are powerful, you know, so be able to share that on and like it costs nothing to you. It goes a long way. Definitely. You can even sign up for our newsletter. If you go to our website, there's a donate button there that if you would like to donate, you would like to be one of the people that contributes to the underserved youth and being able to give back to the community. You know, that's another means of being able to be a part of this movement, of this massive movement that's in dire need for the communities to help heal. So just thank you so much for everything that you all do in the community. Please do something good for yourselves. Be safe, be good to yourselves, and just bask in some gratitude, man. Slap this world with some greatness and bask in some gratitude. You ready? All right. Victorious Voices, we're out.
Peace. Peace.